What's the smartest thing you've seen your pet do? Our cat likes to jump on the counter to see if there's anything edible there that he's not supposed to have. Our dog is a shepherd who is always looking for a job, so he observed us yelling at the cat to get off and then shooing him away. Now the dog will notice when the cat is preparing to jump on the counter and will intervene to shoo him away for us. And if he catches the cat already on the counter, he will come get us and bring us over so we can get the cat off the counter. Kind of amazing to watch him figuring it out, and so incredibly endearing that he wants to solve problems for us. He's a clever boy. We have a police dog too. My cattle dog chased the cat, and when I caught him he pretended that he had a hurt paw so he didn't get in trouble, lol. I was panicking and he looked very pleased and tried pretending the other paw was also hurt while putting full weight on his first hurt one. I used to have a little dog that was tiny as a puppy. He kept getting hurt because he would go right underfoot and people and other dogs couldn't see him. We would dote on him if he got hurt. Eventually he would act hurt every time he wasn't getting all the attention. Luckily by then we'd gotten used to his little presence and he got big enough to see with the naked eye. My cat knocks packaged food items off the countertop, waits for the dog to tear them open, and then moves in for the prize. Cat figured out where the red dot comes from and started swatting the laser pointer out of my hands. My cat knows that the laser pointer shoots the laser. He brings me the pointer when he wants to play with it. I have a treeing Walker coonhound. She's a bit territorial. If anything comes in the yard or walks down the sidewalk in front of our house, we know it. We have glass side panels by our front door so she can just lay there and look out into the front yard. She guards the front door all day long. So my sister-in-law used to come by every afternoon and pick up our kids and take them to the park with her kids. This happened for months. One day her husband came by to pick them up, and my dog went ape crap bananas. New person, new vehicle, kids leaving. As my kids were loading into his vehicle, my coonhound was physically herding me to the door and baying and chopping the entire time. She kept running to the door, running back to me and pushing me to the door. Someone unusual was taking the kids and she was not freaking having it. Good doggy. I had a dog that never misbehaved. I mean never. We used to joke that she'd rather explode her bladder than pee on the carpet. So, it was highly unusual when my husband and I were working on our deck to see her grab one of my hiking boots that was sitting there and walk around with it in her mouth. I scolded her, but kept an eye on her because this behavior was so unusual. Sure enough, a few minutes later she starts making these weird movements with her mouth. So I go take a look. She loved to chew on sticks, and had gotten a sizable piece wedged into the roof of her mouth, which I promptly removed. She had intentionally misbehaved to get my attention. She never touched one of my boots again. Smart dog. My dog hurt his paw and would walk with one front paw all around the house. He'd look sad and mope around, and my mom felt sad for him, so she gave him a treat to get his mind off his hurt paw. Well, eventually he realized if he walked around like that my mom would give him treats. And he did this for a while because he wouldn't do it when I was there. It wasn't until my mom brought it up and I told her he was faking. My cat used to like to get up early and would want my parents to get up to feed her. So she would jump on the dresser and would threaten to knock stuff over. First she would start with my dad's watch and inch it closer to the edge until it fell. Then she would go to my mom's jewelry box and start inching that closer to the edge. They always got up before she pushed the jewelry box. You'd think they'd learn to move the jewelry box, outsmarted by a cat. She learned to stop and sit at crosswalks without me even trying. There's a few busy streets I cross on our walks every day, so I'm always extra cautious. Stop at the crosswalk and make dang sure no one's screaming down the street at 40 miles per hour before I cross. After a few months I noticed my dog would get to a crosswalk and immediately sit and stare at me until I started to cross. Good girl. I had a pet rat named Rudy that was equal parts smart and lazy as frick. He always moved the bowl with his food around until it stood just under the hem of his hammock. He then proceeded to lay in said hammock, letting his head hang over the edge into the food bowl so he could eat while lying down. I had a hamster that had herself set up between the food bowl and the water bottle. She napped between the two, sitting up and leaning one way for food, the other for water, and lying back down. I eventually disrupted her very comfy looking setting in hopes of getting her to move around more. Hamsters are supposed to run. My dog was 5 at the time, German Shepherd Husky LC Grey Wolf mix. While I was away on business and my fiance was at work, someone tried to break into our house. My fiance came home and found our back door busted wide open and she called for our dog. She came out from the trees in our backyard covered in mud with some blood in her mouth. My fiance tossed her in the car, drove up the street and called the police. Ends up nothing was stolen. Would-be thief used a crowbar to bust open the back door and our dog ran downstairs. She liked to sunbathe in the upstairs guest room and scared him off. Case closed. A week later a friend showed me a post on Facebook about our dog at an intersection that was 2 miles away at about 1 PM. Fiance got home at 5:30 PM. So basically around noonish someone tried to break in our house. My dog scared him away and spent the day miles away hunting squirrels, found a dead one she left, rolling in mud, and exploring the town, and then came home around 5ish to greet my fiance. All in a day's work for a good dog. When I was a kid we sort of adopted a stray cat, Amy, and by extension, all her kittens. One of these kittens, Clovis, was a master actress. She lived 2 lives under 2 names. A tough bully that chased her mum away from the food bowl with us, and a gentle fluffball with our neighbors. This wasn't just her being more comfortable with my neighbors. She would respond to Clovis to me, and Grisette to my neighbor. But if called for Grisette, Clovis would just look confused and vice versa. It took a year for us to realize that it was the same cat. My dog's favorite toy is his Kong. It's a snowman-shaped toy that you fill with kibble snacks and it drops treats the more they play with it, throw it, drop it, etc. Basically he figured out the more it bounced, the more likely treats were going to come out. So in the middle of the night my husband wakes up because of a loud constant pounding noise and is like, WTH. Turns out it's our dog running to the top of the stairs, dropping his Kong down the steps, then running back down and collecting all the treats that had fallen out, on repeat. Had a lab mix years ago that would do something similar. When we humans got tired of playing fetch with her in the house, she would bring her tennis ball up to the top of the stairs, drop it, and then fetch it down the stairs. Everyone here with goddamn League of Super Pets, while my dumbass cat has been crashing into the kitchen cupboards for the last 10 years because she hasn't figured out that running on laminate flooring is a bad idea. See, my dog has figured out the exact moment he has to stop running to slide perfectly around the corner from our kitchen towards our living room. He's a mad lad for sure. My cat would harass me in morning for breakfast by messing with my head, which I would just grab her and give her snuggles. So she adopted this strategy of staying on the floor and pulling at the bed fabric and making a popping noise with her claws every 1 to 2 seconds. Insanely effective, and if I tried to grab her she could easily escape under the bed. Freaking evil smart. Ha, sounds like my cat. My cat used to meow loudly next to me to wake me up to feed her earlier, but I learned to sleep through it. Then she would nudge or nip me, so I would hide under blankets. Then she started chewing on my wooden furniture to wake me up, so I taped everything with double-sided tape. Now she just knocks over anything she can. She's winning right now. My parents were about to leave to pick me up and my mom was telling my dad, well, I don't know where my dog's harness is so she can't go with us. My dog then proceeded to go find her harness and carry it to my mom so she could go. I've never been able to get her to do it again. My dog learned this. She kept doing it though, so go get your leash became the new let's go for a walk. She tried to also open doors, but since we had round knobs she just scratched the crap out of them. Our cat harasses my wife when she forgets to take her supplements. That keeps her from having seizures. Legit tip for remembering when to take your medications. Whenever you take your meds, give your pet a small treat. You might forget. They won't. One morning my cat just started fussing over my mum, trying to lick her face constantly and all that. Later when my mum sat down on the sofa, the cat got into her lap, which is bizarre because the cat literally only ever sits in my dad's lap. She never sits in anyone else's lap. We were so confused. The cat was just really paying attention to my mum for some reason. Then, out of nowhere, my mum's heart starts beating at over 200 BPM. She suffers from recurring episodes of tachycardia that she has to go to hospital to stop. When she got home, the cat had calmed down, and we all realized that the cat had seen it coming. Somehow she had realized that something was wrong with my mum and had paid special attention to her all day because of it. We have no clue how. Seriously, if there's any vets or anyone reading who can tell me by what mechanism a cat can predict a tachycardiac episode, please do so. I've wondered about it for years. Not a vet, but some animals detect the faintest traces in us and acts on them, like panic attacks, diabetes, low blood sugar or the like, and she properly acted out of character and the cat tended to her. My cat gets embarrassed when I catch him playing with his cat toys. He plays like a maniac with my husband, but when I walk into the room he does this whole, "What?" So I just happen to be standing here next to this ridiculous stuffed mouse. La la la. Mine does this too. Like she could be so undignified that she could play. Never. Our cat knows how to raise the roller shade on his favorite window for sunbathing on its wide sill. He puts his paw in the ring and raises the shade to the desired height, but never lets it go right to the top. My old dog Molly, RIP, could tell the daytime, sort of. My dad and my uncle are best buddies, and they both live on farms about a half mile from each other. Our dog very rarely strayed from the farm, unless she was accompanying someone. One reason she would leave our farm was to join my dad at my uncle's shed for happy hour, which was every Friday at 4. It was a pre-arranged time for my dad, uncle, and a few of their buddies to have a couple beers and to get their weekend started off right. One week they needed to cancel, because everyone except my uncle was busy and my dad was out of town. My uncle needed to go out to the shed shortly after 4 on Friday and saw Molly sitting at the shed door waiting for the beer drinkers to show up. She ran up there on her own, because she knew that it was happy hour time, and didn't want to miss out. I have a conure, a small parrot, with whom I spend some time with before going to work in the morning. Usually, he tries to grip onto my fingers or shirt when I am about to leave as a way of telling me that he wants to continue chilling on my shoulder and nibbling my facial hair. Crap that conures do to their companions. So one day, I try to take him off my shoulder with a command. "Step up, please." He steps onto my finger and stares at me as I move toward the cage. He fricking dinosaur sprints with his 2 legs up my arm and climbs down onto my mid-back. I do a little bit of Olympic weightlifting for exercise, so my back is pretty sizable, making lots of areas inaccessible to me. For 10-15 minutes, I was there trying to grab him as he just chilled, making lots of laughing noises, knowing that I couldn't reach him. True story. When I close the cage door of my cockatiel, my conure will make an angry noise and do a quick circling fly around the room to tell me he's not ready for bed yet. After a moment petting him, he usually calms down. My wife and I have 2 dogs. Whenever we are eating and they detect the slightest chance of them getting some food, our female will go up to the door and let out a bark. The male will then go to the door thinking that someone is there, and the female will come back to us and try to beg, almost as if she was saying, "I promise I won't tell the other idiot you gave me food." My chihuahua does this but with cuddles. Whenever our healer is cuddling in a spot the chihuahua wants, the chihuahua will go bark at nothing until our healer gets curious and the chihuahua snags her spot while she's investigating. You have been visited by the grandmother gymnast. Comment "My body is my temple" so you can do that when you're old. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.